Hi guys, Mr. Jones here. This is being recorded in case you can't be live in class with us or stream live with us. If you missed the notes live, because the notes are a test grade, I'm recording this. So if you don't make it live to class, you watch this video and use it to complete your notes. I will not post a copy my notes version in this chapter. So if you miss something, you got to go back to that lesson of what we recorded and watch the video to help you figure it out. So this is your chapter 4 notes, and we're starting with lesson 1, Life in the American Colonies. This first page, I just have some information for you, a map of the colonies. Remember, there's the New England colonies, middle colonies, and southern colonies. You have your lesson 1 vocabulary, and we're going to do this a little differently than we did our last notes, so you'll see that in just a second. And then a timeline of some major events that were talked about in the chapters, okay? So if we go to slide number 3, it's our vocabulary. Now, this vocabulary words, you have a word bank over here: subsistence farming, triangular trade, slave codes, cash crop, diverse. If you're not sure what those mean, you go back to your vocabulary and you look up what it means. For example, cash crop, a crop that could be sold easily in markets. Okay, let's see here. So I look at number 1. Tobacco was a major blank in the Virginia colony. Well, I know tobacco is not something that I grow to eat. It's not something I grow to feed my family. It's something that I sell to make money. And I know by looking at this, a crop that can be sold easily is something I sell to make money. So I know that the blank here is cash crop. So I would just double click in there and I would type my word. Okay. So I'm going to let you guys work on that and figure it out. Okay. You just want to make sure that you have all of your 5 words filled out in here, and that's all you do on this screen. Now we're going to go on to slide number 4, making a living in the colonies. Now this is a summary of what you guys read in your reading essential, and I have a link to it right here. If you click on it, all you have to do is click on the little picture, and it brings up your reading essential. Now, we've already done the work on this. I'm not asking you to redo this, but this is a summary. So if you're not sure what should go in those lines there, this is where you would find that. Okay. Now, I'm going to go through these, and I'm going to show you mine. So you won't have to necessarily get your information from that, but you'll also need that to help you answer. I'm going to move myself over here to answer these questions. Some of these you might need to go back to that reading essential and answer. Okay. So on the main ideas, you have some fill in the blanks. Here's your word bank for them. And I'm going to switch over to my master copy so that we can read through them together. Making a living in the colonies, main ideas. The climate and geography of each region determine the kind of farming done there. Remember, New England had really bad land for farming, so it had small farms. The middle and southern colonies had much bigger farms because they had better land and better climate for farming. The middle colonies had more diversity because immigrants from different countries in Europe settled there. The economies in New England and the middle colonies depended on a combination of farming and industries, while the southern colonies were mostly agricultural. Remember, agriculture is that fancy 8th grade word for farming. In the southern colonies, large farms first used indentured servants and then began to depend on enslaved Africans. So on this one, what's recording right now, you could pause this and look at yours and help figure out what to put in the blanks. Each of these bolded words here go in one of these blanks right here. Okay, so you have your word bank over here, but they're also what I have bolded right here. Okay. Now you have 2 questions to make sure you kind of understand what's going on here. The first one says, why did New England depend less on farming than the middle and southern colonies? Again, if I look at that reading essential, wait for it to open up here. Okay, if I go to that reading essential, it says right here, it's highlighted for you. In New England, winters were long and the soil was poor and rocky. So why did they not do less farming? Because they had very bad weather and very poor soil. Okay. Why were the middle colonies diverse in population? Again, if I go back to that reading essential, okay, and I look in here, it's in my notes, but it's also right here. Many German, Dutch, Swedish, and other non-English settlers came to the middle colonies. They brought different ways of farming. That's the same thing right in here. The colonies had more diversity because immigrants. Look it off of my notes right here. Diversity was caused because of immigrants or immigration from countries in Europe. So that's going to help you answer that question right there. Hopefully you paid attention because I just basically told you what to write in there. Okay? You have a map here of the resources of the different colonies and the different regions of the colonies. It says look at New England. That's what's here in purple. Name 4 important industries. Well, if you look up here in New England, anything in the water by that region counts as well. So you have the fish right here, the whales. These little boats, if I look on here, that's shipbuilding. I have rum. I have lumber. Okay, so that's more than 4 that I could choose from. It says, look, the number 4 says, look at Virginia and Maryland. So here's Virginia and here's Maryland, in case you didn't know what the initials were. VA is Virginia, MD is Maryland. And it says, what's the most important economy? Well, there's a little cow right there, and there's a fish right there, but I got 1, 2, 3, 4 different of these little leafy things, and I look at that and I find out that that is tobacco. So there's a lot more tobacco than any of the others, so I would say tobacco is the most important economy. Okay, so again, I just kind of told you what to write down in there, so make sure you're paying attention to this. Rewind it if you need to. Look at the map, answer your questions. Okay, let's take a look at slide number 6, main ideas under the growth of slavery. Okay, and we're going to look at my notes. The plantations in the American colonies created an increased demand for enslaved people. Remember, plantations were gigantic farms, almost like little towns that were all served for the purpose of that farmer. And because they were so big farms, they needed lots of people to work on them, and that's where they turned to slave labor for. The Middle Passage that brought enslaved people from Africa to the Americas was one leg of the 3-part route called the Triangular Trade. Enslaved people had no rights, and most worked very hard under brutal conditions. Many colonies had slave codes or strict rules to govern and punish enslaved people, but some colonists condemned slavery. So there was always some white colonists who thought that slavery was wrong, even as it was gaining popularity in certain regions. Okay, your bolded words here are what you use to fill in your blanks here. You also have a word bank over here. And then number 5, this is kind of a what do you think question. You could kind of pull some of the text, but you're not going to just copy something for the answer on number 5 here. Why did the farmers of the southern colonies depend on slavery to work their farms instead of paying people to do the work instead? So think about this. Why did they use slaves instead of paying somebody? What's the advantage there? Okay, I want to see what you guys think about that. I'll give you credit for any answer. I'm not going to say that you're wrong in your answer, but I kind of want to see what you put down there. So don't just leave it blank. Think about it and put something in there. All right. Then there's a map of the triangle trade. You can see that triangle trade was not just one route. Each of these different colors are different triangles that made their way between the British colonies, Great Britain, and Africa. Okay, there's nothing to do here, just something to take a look at so you can see what was traded and how it was traded. Okay, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that is our notes. Hopefully, if you missed them and didn't do them live with us in class, you can use this video and help you get your notes done. One thing I would advise, since I'm putting this on YouTube, you could easily have a phone or something next to your computer and have the video playing with your worksheet or your notes up in front of you on your Chromebook, and then you could just pause as you need it and go back and forth. Split screen would be another way to do it. Okay? Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you on the next lesson.